Hundreds of survivors and relatives of the people killed in Paris gather to pay tribute to the dead and take part in a remembrance ceremony. The Toronto policeman charged in the killing of a teenager on a streetcar 2 years ago is cross-examined in court. It's one of the biggest shopping days of the year. Consumers are going crazy for Black Friday bargains. Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Nick Baer, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. It's a solemn day in Paris. Today is the official commemoration for victims of the Paris terrorist attacks. The ceremony took place this morning for the 130 victims who lost their lives on November 13th. The tribute was attended by politicians, families of the victims, and some of the 350 people injured during the attacks. After reading the names of the victims, French President François Hollande spoke to the crowd. He promised to destroy what he called an army of fanatics and said that France will fight relentlessly to protect its children. Suspects have been arrested after last week's deadly attack at a hotel in Mali. Security officials in Mali say 2 men have been arrested in connection with the attack. Police say 2 gunmen carried out the attack at the Radisson Blu Hotel last Friday. Both were killed at the scene. An extremist group affiliated with Al-Qaeda has claimed responsibility. 20 people were killed, including many foreigners. Elsewhere in Africa, Pope Francis is on the move. He's now arrived in Uganda. The pontiff received a warm welcome at Entebbe Airport when he arrived on the second leg of his African tour. During his visit, the Pope is expected to address young people at an open-air mass and possibly meet with Uganda's gay rights community. The Pope is hoping to bridge the gap between Muslim and Christian Africans. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has been given a special honor at the Commonwealth Summit in Malta. He will be toasting the Queen at tonight's banquet. Earlier today, Queen Elizabeth welcomed the leaders of the 53 member countries.
The Commonwealth will be charged with demonstrating leadership on an agenda of global issues and drawing on the distinctive contribution of our members.
The Commonwealth leaders will discuss global governance, security issues, and climate change over the next 3 days. Invited guests include French President François Hollande and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. The summit could be the last time the 89-year-old Queen is able to attend. Back at home, the federal government has issued more than 900 permanent visas for Syrian refugees coming to Canada. The government has also committed $100 million in humanitarian aid to help with the refugee crisis overseas. The money will go toward clothes, food, schooling, and medicine for refugees in Syria, Egypt, and Europe. The photos that shocked the world, sparking outrage and promises of change, have resulted in action. The family of drowned Syrian boy Alan Kurdi has been fast-tracked to Canada as part of the new strategy. Constable James Forcillo is on the witness stand again today. The Toronto policeman is being cross-examined by the Crown. Forcillo shot and killed 18-year-old Sami Yatim on a streetcar 2 years ago. The Crown is questioning Forcillo on his police training and how he handled the deadly incident. Eric Wickham is in the courtroom and has this report.
For the third straight day, James Forcillo took the stand. Today he's being cross-examined by the Crown. The trial began with Forcillo being asked questions about the video recreation that had him playing the part of Sami Yatim. This led to a conversation about the materials he had looked at to refresh his memory for the court case. It's interesting. Definitely there's a little bit of tension. I think Rubik's just doing his job, but he went for it today. Eric Wickham, Humber News.
A third pedestrian has been struck and killed this week in Toronto after a tanker truck collided with a woman this morning. Toronto police arrived at the corner of Bathurst and Eglinton, where the woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say the collision happened while the truck was making a right turn at around 5:30 this morning. The driver is now being questioned by police. This is the third pedestrian struck in the last 4 days across the GTA. All 3 occurred during the morning commute hours between 5 and 7. The end may be near for a Toronto institution. There are reports that Brunswick House at the corner of Bloor and Brunswick may be shutting down. The so-called Brunny has been a popular spot since it opened in 1876. It's one of the oldest taverns in Toronto. The Harbour Village Residences Association posted on its website that the owner of the building has terminated the lease. As of December 31st, the Brunswick House will be open only on a month-by-month basis. Today marks the so-called Super Bowl of shopping. Black Friday is taking over malls around the world. Across the U.S., shoppers are waking up early from their Thanksgiving food coma to get started on their holiday shopping. Retailers are offering their best deals, but it's bringing out the worst in consumers. Several videos uploaded to social media show mall fights in Kentucky, one of them said to be over a pair of Air Jordans. Reports say fewer Canadians headed south because of the low loonie, opting to shop on this side of the 49th parallel. The only Canuck brawl happened online, when a glitch on Best Buy's website wouldn't let shoppers complete their purchases. As we told you in yesterday's newscast, the Ontario government has made a U-turn on its decision to let medical marijuana users vape and smoke in public. That decision could have caused conflicts for business operators. Christy Farr has the story.
Possibility that medical marijuana can be used with vaporizers in public places may leave the burden of regulation in the hands of business owners and operators. Many professionals in the restaurant industry felt they were left out of the conversation and decision. Christy Adams, program coordinator with over 20 years in the hospitality and tourism industry, says she hopes the government makes sure to check with experts in the field with how they think this can be managed.
Yeah, well, they need to ask us, those of us that are in the business, right? Maybe we could help or give our input. I hope that they've done that somewhere along the line.
Since Wednesday's decision is now under review, more Canadians have the chance to share their views of how this might impact everyone sharing the air.
Smoking marijuana in an environment where other people have children, they may have some respiratory issues. There could be issues with this happening, and I think that most restaurateurs will probably say no.
Many Canadians have different views of how it will make them feel to have someone vape up beside them.
As long as you don't really smell it. I mean, I'm the type of person to, if I could smell it, then I'll get bothered.
Not like it. I'm going to say, hey, let's get out here.
I would prefer to do it in private.
Not really for it because there could be like little kids there as well and stuff, and it's not really good to have that near them.
Business owners will have to adapt.
Reaction would be that to deal with it on an individual basis. If you had a place where you could put them where they wouldn't be disturbing other guests, then I don't see it being a problem.
Designated areas or proper training for our teams.
More people need to be consulted before a final decision should be made. Christy Farr, Humber News.
Today at Humber, award-winning investigative journalist Kevin Donovan was here sharing his tricks of the trade. Our reporter Evan Pressman did an investigation of his own and met with Donovan to see what he had to say.
Award-winning journalist Kevin Donovan was at Humber today speaking to students in the Media Communications program. Students were given an opportunity to ask questions and interact with a man who has broken a number of high-profile stories, including the Rob Ford and Gian Ghomeshi scandals. Donovan says that his goal in doing these presentations is to eliminate some of the doom and gloom that surrounds the journalism industry.
Well, I want to do my small part to inspire people and tell them that there is a great future for journalism. It's changing, but change is good, and that they will go forth and do something really exciting with their career.
During the presentation, Donovan recounted his experiences throughout his illustrious 30-year career. Media communications student Jerry Serapio says the talk gave him a newfound appreciation for journalism.
I thought it was actually really interesting. He talked about a lot of things. I like how he likes to write about people as opposed to larger stories, because everyone likes to write about the big events. But he writes about smaller things, but then he makes them big with his writing. So I think that's pretty unique.
Media communications program coordinator Vince Chario explains why he asked Donovan to talk to his students.
My students needed to see the inside of a newsroom from his perspective, hearing it from the ground floor, from someone who has, as I said, rolled up their sleeves and gotten into the story.
Donovan says the most important part of being a successful journalist is to be timely and to always stay curious. Evan Pressman, Humber News.
When we come back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports. And Charlotte Morit-Jacobs will have your 3-day forecast.
It's a balmy Black Friday, and shoppers may get a little soggy. We'll see rain until the cold air arrives. For now, we're sitting with warmer temperatures. It's currently 14 degrees out. I'll have your full 3-day forecast after the break.
The baby twin pandas at the Toronto Zoo are growing up right before our eyes. And now zoo officials say they've outgrown their incubators. Zoo staff say the 6-week-old cubs are doing well and spending a lot of time with their mom. They're the first ever giant pandas born in Canada. We still can't see them in person yet, so for now, we'll have to be satisfied with this cute video. We'll take a short break, but first, Devin Supertramp and his group of daredevils take viewers on one heck of an extreme ride. The team visited Navajo Beach in Greece, a breathtaking location adored by tourists and base jumpers for its massive cliffs. The cast of thrill seekers hitched a 600-foot-long rope from one cliff to another while filming their breathtaking view. They swung back and forth over a shipwrecked boat on the beach. Absolutely ridiculous.